Welcome back to a bevy of bloods for round one of the AFLW 2023 season. We get stuck into this year by celebrating the Swans' first ever win in history in the AFLW. Let's get going. So fluff up your tail feathers and settle in for potentially, but hopefully, let's bias yarn about all things to do with our beloved bloods.
Sydney Swans.
G'day there, Cygnets and Swanlings. My name is Chris, and I'm kicking off this season with the good luck charm, Stevo. Stevo, welcome to the potty again, my friend.
Oh, thanks, mate. And we got a good one to chat about. I can't wait.
Love it. Mate, before we get going, to supporters out there listening in, thank you very much. If you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you get your socials, and on wherever you get this podcast, it makes a big difference to the channel. We are committed to doing this AFLW season. We're quite excited about it. So if you want to make sure you keep on top of all of the stuff we're putting out there, make sure to follow us wherever you can. Right. Score recap. Let's get stuck into it. Last Sunday, only a few hours ago, our Sydney Swans defeated the GWS Giants by 5 points with a final score of 7-9, 51 for the Swans and 7-4, 46 for the Giants. Stevo, first impressions, mate. Take it away.
Oh, mate, what a way to start a Sunday morning. It's still Sunday. I'm still on the same day as the win because we're recording this on Monday morning Sydney time, which is late Sunday night finish time, so I'm still buzzing. The game was at 8 o'clock this morning, and it made an otherwise unpleasant Sunday morning and wake up pretty good. And I'll tell you what, I thought we were going to get done. When they got up 25 points in the third quarter, I was afraid that this was going to go the way that some of the other games went last year, that we played really well and missed some opportunities and tried hard and just couldn't quite run it out. And then they came home flying, didn't they? Kicked 4 goals. Yep. To nothing after that Giants lead, and there we go, first win of the I guess existence for the Swans, for the AFLW. So well done.
Yeah, it was massive. I totally agree with you there. When they started putting on the goals, GWS was starting to get ahead and got away with that 25-point lead. At that point, I was like, oh well, the signs were there. I was like, they're much fitter, they're harder, they're much more organized. The girls are right on point, and sure that GWS was showing a bit more class and just a bit more professionalism, I guess, in some certain aspects, and be able to chain some handballs together to get them something going. And I was like, look, it is what it is. Signs are there, looking, big positivity. And then they just came back. And we know what happened. It was superb. And I just can't imagine that it wouldn't have happened without a couple of special names there, in particular. The one that was important to me, Chloe Malloy, with that goal that just seemed to have just made the entire crowd at that point believe. And straight as that happened, the crowd was like bang, pumping at that point. It was wicked, mate. It was so much fun. Mate, what did you see in the game that was worth calling out in any special points here?
I think a big difference from last year, you just mentioned that already, that they looked very organised and they were playing to a structure, to a plan, and I think that that's the benefit of having had an entire preseason rather than just what they had like 8 or 10 weeks before their first season in 2022, season 7 of the AFLW, and then 3 players in particular that were brought in over the off season, I think made a huge difference in this game. Was Malloy, McAvoy, and Gardner, all 3 of them. There's a big difference when you've got a lot of people fighting for the ball and working hard and doing their job, and then you've got players like those 3 and others, but in particular those 3 who have experience and they know what to do with the football, and they can open the game up a bit and bring others into the game and get us going forward. And yeah, it was night and day compared to round 1 2022 last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot more pointing, I noticed this time around in particular. The girls like Ella Heads, for instance, who's a second year in AFLW. So she's obviously still learning. She's obviously got a lot of talent that we all can see. And girls like herself pointing, and everyone's like recognizing that they're like pointing, pointing the same thing. Everyone's marking up. There's like little chatter between everyone. Seemed organized. Like last year, you kind of felt like, to be fair, the defense last year were just being bombarded. So you can give them a little bit of hand there. They were absolutely being smashed every game. And this time around, even when they were being smashed in that fourth quarter, which we'll probably get a little bit more into, they were just solid and they just kept it all together. It never seemed to be really disorganized. Everyone had, if someone was loose, they were calling it out. Some of the midfielders come up, pick someone up, and it just seemed like a really well-structured, organized crew with minimal conversation between them, but they all seemed to know exactly what they were doing, what they were trying to achieve. So all I can say is well done to Scott Gowans as well as the girls for what seems to be a pretty well-tuned game in round one. We'll get into what that means and what stands in the ladder, but oh, mate, like you said, chalk and cheese compared to last year. It's looking fantastic. Very, very, very proud of the girls. And the crowd was there too, mate. One thing I did want to point out was Cynthia Hamilton. I went to the game with my dad and my partner and Brady and his little kid, Touch Boy. And my dad this is his second AFL game in his life. So the first one he took me to go to, I estimated around 1993, 1994, where we got absolutely lit up by some Victorian team. And my dad was like, why are we here? Basically.
Why?
And he's like, this is silly. And he's never been to a game. And since then, and so we got him out to the game on Father's Day, out to AFLW. He was quite pumped about it. And he had the best time. And the first thing that he noticed was Cynthia Hamilton was on our side. We were on that side of the field. And she was getting a fair bit of rough attention by one of the players in GWS. And my dad was impressed. It's just like, wow, she's getting it, she's giving it back, and she's not fast. And he was really kind of taken aback, and he was just paying attention to her thereafter. And she was throwing her head over every ball. She was going half a tackle. She was taking on players. She got caught a couple of times, but she was taking it on. Yeah, although she's not up there in the stat sheet, she had a lot of attention put on her, and she was wearing it like lead. She had no problem. So massive, massive raps there, mate. Anything else you saw from the game?
Well, something I was sort of thinking back in terms of the progress over to this season, which is roughly a year ago. The corresponding fixture last year, we played the Giants in, I think, round 4 or round 5 at the SCG. There was that one SCG game last year, and we got smashed. We lost by 47 points. They kicked 9 goals, we kicked 2, and we got absolutely run over. Flipped that around at this time this year, and we kicked 7 goals. We probably could have kicked a few more. There was some inaccuracy and some pretty bad misses, really, and missed opportunities. And the Giants, they also kicked 7. So that is a huge change in a very short period of time. And this is a foundation team to the Giants. So when we talk about the expansion sides that have come later, like these later 8 roughly teams, the Giants have one of the original 8, so they've had a long time. This is their 8th season in AFLW now. This is our 2nd, and we've not just taken it up to them and had a competitive, honourable loss, which honestly I think a lot of Swans fans would have patted them on the back and said, well done, you tried, but that wasn't good enough for them. They got to the point where they got a sniff, and they really came, and they've knocked off a team that's been playing for 8 seasons. So I don't think we should understate that. It was an amazing effort.
And even Scott Gowans himself, I think it was maybe Wednesday or Thursday, at a last-minute attempt to rile up the competition, actually said the words, I think paraphrasing, but effectively, GWS have been in the competition for a long time, and I feel they've effectively squandered a lot of their time here. And kind of that message. And we're like, wow, okay, calm down, Gowans. That's kicking up some dirt pretty quickly. But you know what? I guess he's trying to do what he suggested he would be doing at the beginning of the season, which is, this is not a joke season. We're here to win. We're here to compete. And the girls do the same. So if he wants to put in a bit of pressure underneath his girls, it's to talk some smack and then make them fight it out when they're on the field, which they did exactly that. So yeah, huge stuff, man.
Yeah, there was no love lost on the field, was there? Like, it was an intense game. At least watching on the TV, I mean, you would have seen it even better up close. But even on the telly, like, it looked like there was some heat in the match all the way through it between two teams that both wanted to give it to each other.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't say nasty is not the word. It wasn't nasty, but there was no holding back by either team. They were finishing tackles. There was a couple of thanks for coming pumps in the back when they were trying to get up. There was a fair few niggles, a few words exchanged. It was a tough game, straight into the fire for these girls, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be prouder. Like you said, if they competed and we ended up losing by the 18, it would have been massive improvement from last year, no question at all. You can see we're in the right path. But then to really finish off the game the way we did, and then to hold up that back line, oh mate, couldn't have asked for more. Really fantastic.
Yeah, we didn't let them score. I mean, at one point, because we got ahead with 10 minutes left, I think, when Chloe Malloy got that second goal of hers, that sort of snap one from in front. We got ahead with about 10 minutes left, and I thought, oh, God, we're probably going to need to kick another one or two, because surely they're going to get one, maybe two left in the game. And then turned out that the final score of the game, which was a Swans behind, came with 9 minutes left. There was 9 scoreless minutes of just arm wrestle at the end. And at first, the Giants just couldn't clear their back 50 or their back half. And then once they were able to get the ball going forward and getting it through the centre and inside their forward 50, our Swans defence just repelled everything. It was amazing defending, really, to watch. It was I was just imagining that surely they're going to get a score here, because they just had so much ball going in there, and they didn't.
Yeah, high pressure game. I noticed very, very high pressure, and especially in their forward, our defensive. They weren't given centimeters, and it made all the difference. They didn't get time to even get on their favorite foot. And yeah, we just right onto it. It was just brilliant. It was just a good way of winning a game. That defense had been pumped all last season, and for them to effectively win the game for them at the end there, it was super special. They deserve all the credit. They were magnificent, alongside a few other players, which we'll get to in the Bob Medal. Mate, favorite moments? Do you want to call out a couple particular moments that you felt were fantastic? You could probably watch them again 3 or 4 or 5 times over.
Yeah, the first one for me was that last 10 seconds or so. The ball was on the wing, and it had been coming and coming in and coming in and coming in. And I think the thing is with AFLW is that if you get to a point in about halfway through the last quarter and you've got like a goal lead or a 2-goal lead, you think, okay, we can probably try and lock this up and slow it down, because the clock doesn't stop until the final 2 minutes. So the clock runs continuously until time on starts getting used at the very, very end. Besides for goals, it stops always for goals. So you can usually take a bit of time off it, and then, okay, I thought, right, it's come out, but it was in that last 2 minutes when the clock is stopping, so I thought, oh man, we've really got to not do anything here to give away a free kick or get them into space. And then finally, Lucy McAvoy did a really good clearing kick. I think it was Lucy McAvoy, and the ball came out, and that's where you see her experience too, is just territory. In that stage of the game, it's about getting the ball out of here, and that's what she did. And we got the ball on the wing or near the wing, and there was 10-15 seconds left. I thought, yep, we're going to win this. They're not going to get one. And then the siren went, and I thought, that's it. They got the first ever win for the Swans AFLW. It was amazing. That was my favourite moment. I think that last 15 seconds or so.
Yeah, I think it was Lucy McAvoy. I think you said Chloe McAvoy.
Oh, sorry. I'm confusing our two players.
Our 2 new recruits. We're still still working it out. Well, and part of that ending sequence was another one of Cynthia Hamilton's like head rolling, just slamming herself into the ball to just get it rolling away, and then eventually we got ourselves another bounce at the wing and throw in from the wing, and just like tough. I managed to film that last few seconds, and it just seemed to have felt like it went on forever, as those close games go. The last 3 minutes of a close game feels like a whole quarter in itself, and that's what basically happened, and we ended up getting it up.
Yeah, like Brenna Tarrant, she played in the backline. She played a whole game in the last 4 minutes. Really, she didn't really touch the ball much at all for the first 3 quarters and 15 minutes or so, and then she took 3 massive intercepts all in the last 4 minutes of the game. It was incredible.
Yeah, she was running around just like not even manned up. Half of it, I felt like it's just she's just floating off, getting a couple of intercepts. It was grand. It was so beautiful. It was just a full team effort. It felt like it was just really, really, really good, and couple of very notable. We've gone into the desperate defense already, how good the defense was at the end of the game there. You've mentioned a few names: Ella Hares, Lucy McAvoy, Tarrant, Kennedy. They all played really, really well. Of course, a few other names that went with it. I'm just quickly going to mention the goals from Chloe Malloy. I kind of feel that her best goal is when she kicks a banana, right? So she basically kicked 2 banana goals on this game. So maybe she prefers not to bother with a drop punt. So that was pretty sweet. When she kicked that first one, sold the candy, got on the other foot, bananaed it. Everyone in the stand where we were in, which was on that stand right in front of us where she kicked it, everyone was riding every bit of that. So we all bought the candy. We're like, oh no. And then she takes a turn. We're like, oh yes. And then she kicks it. We're like, what? And it went through, and we went absolutely ballistic. And at that point, the cheer started, the continual claps, and there was a couple of unique claps, let me say, of like someone started something and then everyone just kept going with it, just perpetually throughout the whole game. It was just even just the AFLW had a totally different feel in what it was all about, and what the the stands and the fans were doing. So yeah, that was extra special to be part of that one. Mate, do we want to get stuck straight into the best on ground? It is the Bob medal, which is the equivalent of the Bob Skilton medal. We give 3, 2, 1 points out to the best Swans players, and this week they are going to win for their effort a cat. My mother-in-law, soon-to-be mother-in-law, has a few cats that she's had to adopt because of a cat with a litter turned up, and she started feeding them. She got them all neutered, and now she is accidentally the owner of all these cats. So we've got a few to give away. So we're going to give away one of them that's called Blakey, which we've actually named after Nick Blakey. So he's available. It's actually a girl. That's a girl cat. So she's available. She's beautiful. A little bit standoffish, but she's lovely. And 3, 2, 1 go out to 3 points to Ali Morfitt, 2 points for Chloe Malloy, and 1 point to Lucy McAvoy. Mate, take it away with Ali Morfitt, our rock woman.
Yeah, so Ali Morfitt, let's hope she likes cats. Are these the same cats? Because last week when we did the Bob medal for the men's game, you gave a cat to, who was it? Callum Mills got a cat, didn't he? I think.
Yeah.
Is this the same family? Are they all like? Is this a sibling of the cat that Mills got?
Yeah, exactly. This is the sibling of Daphne or Daffy.
Okay.
Yep. We've got 2 more to go. So we've got some players out there with some. If you want a cat, geez, just reach out to us. We've got cats. We've got cats going around everywhere.
So we'll know who the cat lovers are based on, because you've got 2 left. The next 2 games are going to be the men's elimination final and then Geelong for the women the week after that. So you'll know who the cat lovers are by the ones who bust their guts and get best on ground because they know what the prize is already. There you go.
There you go. We know now. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Millsy wants a second one. Maybe he's already in love with Daphne.
Hey, anyway. I don't blame him. She's a beauty. He's a beauty.
Ali Morfitt, she was massive. She dominated in the centre, playing in the ruck. She smashed it in the hit out. She had 29, which was double what her opposing ruck had. She had 7 clearances to go with it, so it's not just like winning the tap, and often when it's congested, winning the tap doesn't necessarily mean much unless you can really direct it, but she got 7 clearances to go with it, which was the most on the field. 4 tackles, which means she's putting pressure on around the stoppage and around the ground. 18 touches, 16 of those 18 touches were contested, if you'd believe that. I'll keep going. There's more. 334 metres gained, which, considering that field is only 125 metres long, is what, roughly almost 3 times the length of that field up and back, and then back again, which was the most for the Swans. And then on top of that, she had 6 intercepts also, which was the second on the field. So it's a massive game from Morfitt. I think, she was a solid best on ground, and she just looked dominant. On the telly, at least, she looked like she was really imposing around the field and around the contest.
Yeah, she was clearly the best as well. So she was just, like you mentioned there, all those stats, wild, everywhere. She was absolutely everywhere. And even she had more opportunity to do more with it. Like, she had her hands on the ball, 2 hands on the ball plenty of times, and she opted for the tap down, which is, I've noticed, a big, definitely in AFLW, the tap down is where it's all about. The Crummers are the big winners there. But she had both hands on the ball. I don't even know how to. I can't even tell you how many times, like 15, 20 times. And she had opportunity for a lot more marks. And he's hoping that she starts to add that in as well, because she's just wildly good. She was just way too much better than others. So huge game for Ali Morfitt. 2 points for Chloe Malloy. She had her 2 goals, which was equal best on ground, also with Privatelli, which we'll talk about in a moment. 13 disposals for Chloe, 6 tackles, so pressure on, getting the ball, getting goals, and 4 clearances as well. So not only was she a big part of the centre and just getting clearances anyway, she was also playing defence. She was kicking goals to get us over the line, and she was getting her touches at the appropriate time. So massive things from our big recruit from Pies, new captain. Can't ask for more than that. Mate, do you want to take it away with Lucy McAvoy?
Yeah, Lucy McAvoy. I already said a bit about her before, but just her role in defence was so strong. I think the way that she gave that experience and that intelligence around and knowing when to go and knowing when to hold, and her very good use of the ball and decision making, I think it made that back line, especially when they were getting flooded into, like the ball was just coming in that final part of the game. It helped them stand up. I think having her to sort of position around, I think helped those younger, less experienced defenders to play really, really well. So yeah, there's a couple of others that were probably close for the 1 point, but I think just her really important role in that final part of the game when it was on the line, because one goal and they won, and that was it, and then it was going to be hard for us to go back and get another one. So that probably just got her ahead of a couple of others that also had really good games.
Yep, fair enough. A couple of quick stats for her: 5 score involvements, 2 goal assists, which was best on ground, 3 marks and 16 disposals. So very busy for the day, mate. Honourable mentions. Do you want to take it away with a few that were unlucky to get 1 point, but definitely deserve a bit of love?
I'd say another one of our new players that we also mentioned already, Laura Gardner, came in from Geelong. She'd played a full season for Geelong last year. She'd played half a season for Geelong the year before in the AFLW, and Geelong was a solid team. They were a finals team last year, so she's got finals experience. She played in their one final last year. She missed one game along the way injured, I think, actually, last season, but played 10 out of the Cats' 11. She had 19 touches, 13 tackles, which is
Jesus.
a huge amount of tackles.
That's
Yeah,
massive. Yeah.
and remember that these matches are what 17 minutes, and only the final 2 minutes of each quarter is fully timed. So 13 tackles in that amount of football is a lot. She had a fantastic game, I think, and makes me think that she'll be a good one. She's been a good pickup.
Yeah, very, very lucky to pick up those. Like, so of the top 4 that we've basically recognized, 3 of them are the new recruits that come in from other clubs. So we've done pretty well. Yeah. So one quick one is for me, Rebecca Privatelli with her 2 goals, keeping very busy. Couple of very nice marks on the chest and on the hands. Just being busy, keeping her one running. Every time that she had an opportunity, she was giving leads. She was getting around. She was pointing fingers. She seemed to be what I deem to be a little bit more of the organizer up front as well. So that I quite enjoyed watching her directly. Who else do you have on your side, mate?
I'll take in Ella Heads. She was great in the back line throughout the game, but especially in that last quarter when she really stood up, I think, and she won a couple of important free kicks. She took some marks. She was strong over the ball, and she repelled probably half a dozen attacks just in that last little patch of play when the Giants really coming. So she was another one that was really good. And yeah, local Sydney product too, Inner West.
Yeah, can't go wrong. 12 touches, 11 of them kicks. So she was definitely using the boot. And her kicks are big. Like, she kicks a good 40. So I can understand why they give the ball to her all the time as often as can. Quick one for me is Sophia Hurley. She was great again. She's a little pocket rocket. She's brilliant. Big tackler all over again. She actually had a bit of a fan club next to us where we were. And she came over and said hello, gave everyone hugs. And while she was there, a few younger girls were asking for some autographs, and she signed a couple of things. And that just made the absolute day of her friends, because her friends probably see her as just, Sophia, my friend. It's whatever. Look, wow, she's playing on the telly. And to see her then signing things for young girls and be an inspiration for them kind of put the tear to a couple of their eyes. So that was really, really sweet to see. And yeah, she carried herself with presence, just sweetness and just intensity all at the same time with the 7 tackles. So she's on path to having another season similar to what she had last year as well. Any other names from your side, mate, to bring up?
I got one more, and I already mentioned her as well, but I'm going to give you more. I know Brenna Tarrant, the number 20 in the back line. She had a very, very late cameo into the game. She only had 5 touches for the whole match. She took 4 marks for the whole match, but 3 of those marks, like we just said, all came in the last 4 minutes of the game, and they were all really, really key intercept marks. And sometimes you might only get 5 touches for the game, but those 3 you get at the end are absolutely crucial, and that was the case for her.
That's it. Well, yep, a lot of good names there. A pretty compelling win, and that takes us to 8th in the ladder at 110%. So as you've noted here, first time percentage over 100, which is great to know. Means we've scored more than we've scored against as a start, and to kick off straight away with being on 8th in finals contention already this year. Mate, so what else has happened around the league that you wanted to point out?
I think in terms of this year, and we spoke about this last week with the preview, is that our yardstick, or maybe not yardstick is the wrong word, but like our point of comparison is the other teams that have come into the league at the same time as us, and then maybe the next set of comparison is the teams that came in 2020, which was another 4 sides. But the 3 that joined the league with us last year, who have all just coming like us into their second season, is Port Adelaide, Essendon and Hawthorn. Essendon and Hawthorn played each other, so one of them had to win, and Essendon got up over the Hawks, so Essendon got a win, which was a good start for the year for them. And then Port Adelaide, they played another foundation team in their local game against the Crows, and the Crows beat them pretty well. But significantly, Port Adelaide, they went with them, and they were pretty competitive for the first half, and then the Crows just pulled away. And that, I think, was maybe the fear of a lot of people, including myself, when we'd been pushing them, and then eventually they got out to that 4-goal lead, 25 points, and it felt like that was just going to be the margin, or maybe they'd even pushed out a bit more. But it didn't happen. Unlike Port, who got blown out, we turned it around and got ahead. So that's where we are against the teams that are roughly our peers at the moment from the first round.
All right, so a very good start. Nice to hear. We wanted to, it's always nice to start, but as we will mention in a second, we've got a couple of big games ahead of us. So round 2 is going to be against Geelong back at North Sydney Oval next Saturday at 1:05 p.m. So that's going to be pretty good. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go. I've got the engagement party that weekend. Stevo is going to be in Canada. I'm dragging a couple of the bevy to my party, so it's not going to be. We're going to have a couple of people there of the crew, but unfortunately, I've made some mistakes. That's not true. That's not the truth. That's the worst way. That's the worst way to say it. I've not made any mistakes. I've just unlucky with timing. Even that's
calendar didn't fool you away,
Yeah, I'm going to blame the AFL and AFLW. Stuff them.
Oh, they seriously do blame the AFL, because I mean this crap that the AFL has continued with of only announcing the women's schedule like fairly
3
close
weeks.
to the year. I'm surprised we even know where the game is next week. Based on the way they've been doing it. So this is on Gilbert and his buddies. This isn't your fault. Don't let yourself be held responsible for something which is all on AFL House.
That's it. I'm blaming Dillian McGurkin to.
That's the one. That bloke. Yeah, him.
That McGurkin bloke. All right, mate. Injuries. No injuries reported for the match, but I still understand Montana Ham is out. Do we have any idea of when she might be coming back in?
Nah, not yet. I mean, they said when it happened at the start of the preseason or before the preseason. They said she wouldn't play preseason and that she'd miss at least the first 2, and then that's where it's up to. So we haven't heard anything else yet. So we're certainly not expecting her to play against Geelong this weekend coming, and I don't know, it's a short season, it's tough. So you've missed 2, you've already missed a 5th of the season, and it's up to like we said last week, it's possibly a battle, because the athlete always wants to play.
Good luck to the coaches trying to hold her back. I think she came back pretty quickly after doing her knee, and we suspected it's going to be an ACL, but it ended up just being, it wasn't a tear, it was just like it was ligament in the end or something, and she ended up coming back after 2 or 3 games. So she that she's going to come back even if she is injured. So it's probably a hard hard task for the coaches to hold her back and tell her to just calm down. We need you for a long term, not just for a couple of games. So.
And I'll tell you what, I do like the idea, and I kind of feel sorry for some of the opposition, almost, the idea of a midfield that's got the ones that we've currently got bashing it all around. We've got Ali Morford in there just absolutely smashing bodies around. Chloe Malloy, very strong. Hamilton, also very strong. And then Chuck Montana Ham in there. That's a solid midfield.
Yeah, that's a big midfield too, of hard nuts. Yeah, that's exciting. Mate, let's talk about Geelong quickly, as they are our next game. They played the Dogs in the first round, beaten them by 48, I think. What do we see out of that game? Do we just see a strong Geelong team, or do we feel that the Dogs probably weren't as competitive as we suspected them to be?
Both are good, I think. I mean, both were losing elimination finalists last year, and the Dogs are a founding team, like a founding 8 team, and the Cats they were like one of the first 2 that were put in. Cats and North Melbourne came in just a year or 2 later, so they've both been around for a long time, both teams. So they've got a lot of experience. The Cats look good, but they both played finals last year, and Geelong just played really, really well. I watched a bit of the game, and they were moving the ball very, very nicely. They were very strong over the contest. They controlled it from the start to the finish. I mean, they won 10 goals to 2, like 48 points, 10-5 to 2-5. It was a belting, really, in the end, and the Dogs never really looked in it. So Geelong will, at least based on that first run, looks like they'll be a team that will be looking to contend this year, certainly looking for finals.
And in particular, a couple of the players there, they just had an absolute run on. You were talking about Georgie, I always can never pronounce it properly. Prespakis?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was brutal.
Let's go
dominated. With that. She killed it. Yeah, and I was watching, and she cruises around, and she's one of those players that just keeps getting the footy, and when she hasn't got the footy, she's tackling someone who's got the footy to either slow it down and win it back herself. Like, she's unbelievable. She had 34 touches, 11 tackles, 9 clearances. Like, she played really well. I think she's one that it'll be a solid matchup for our Swans on Saturday.
Yeah, and just in the quiet, I think she is at the moment set up for the to basically take the best. She's a lock-in for AA as far as everyone's concerned before the season even started. So to her to get off to this hot start, and I think that's even hotter than most people even considered. So yeah, some pretty massive stuff going on there by Georgie. The other couple of notable names: Amy McDonald, 28 touches, 12 tackles, 9 clearances. Another big game from her. Jacqueline Parry, 16 disposals, 8 marks, and 3 goals. There's no joking around over there. They've got some massive key players, so to get the Swans over them, what do you think it's going to take, Steve? Or is this another game where we just got to play that hard contested ball and high pressure all over again?
I think one thing that's in the advantage for the Swans is they're familiar with the ground. North Sydney Oval, you were there, you saw it with your own eyes. The other day, it was this morning or yesterday for whoever is talking. I'm confused now as to what's even going on. It's still Sunday night in Finland. I don't know what is happening. I feel like I've been doing the podcast all day because I was making notes already this morning. Anyway, you know what the field looks like. Like, it's an odd field. It's very short.
Yeah.
It's a field that you could easily get stuck on transition, like not really knowing, especially for like your wings and your half forwards. It could be very hard to play on a field that it is that much shorter than a field that you're normally playing on. So the Swans have got the advantage that they know the ground, and that's what I'd be starting with. And then of course we know that they're on paper a better team. We know this, but that doesn't mean we can't beat them. It means that we just have to think of ways to beat them. So we know the ground, and we can put on huge pressure. And the Swans were also able to show that they could score quite quickly. We scored 2 goals in 2 minutes at the end of the third quarter, and then a couple of goals very quickly in the fourth quarter to get ahead. And then we're able to hold off a late surge. So all of those things are positives to take from this game to try and develop and make even better in a week against a strong side in Geelong. So I don't think it's unwinnable. It's tough, but there are things that they can do.
One thing I would love to know is whether we're able to, where we have anyone that's been practicing and trained up to be a tagger, whether we can have our first effective tagger against Georgie Prespakis. Oh my God, Prespakis. That's going to kill me. I'm presuming Greek. I'm not sure.
It sounds like, and she's got a sister too at Essendon who goes pretty good too. They're a solid family of footballers.
Oh, damn it. We don't want it more. They join up together. Unstoppable. Yeah, so maybe we can have a tagger. I think Sophia, with her constant energy, tons and tons of energy and strong tackling, might be the one to go for. Let's see what ends up there.
And the other thing we've got is Laura Gardner. She's been at Geelong for the last 3 seasons. So
That's
she knows their players. She knows their team. She will have an understanding, maybe not of their up-to-date game plan, but at least how their players like to play. So maybe she can help a bit too and figure out, how to get the better of some of these Geelong players and their structures and stuff.
You reckon that she might get a bit of attention from the opposition to a couple of friendly jabs for leaving Geelong or so?
Yeah, she might. I don't know if it was amicable or what, the departure, but yeah, there could easily be a bit of fight. Sometimes when you play your old teammates, even if you love them, it's always a bit more willing than normal.
All right.
Especially if you love them sometimes.
Yeah, especially if you love them. Also, if you love them. There's no one better at annoying you or pissing you off than your own sibling. That's for sure. So
I've played a couple of games only ever against my brother, and we actually were playing on each other at one. This was years ago. When we were we were playing in Sydney for different teams. And at one point we actually were running with each other. I think it was on a wing for about half an hour, and neither of us touched the ball because both of us were terrified the other one was going to get the ball. So we didn't even think about getting the footy. We just tried to stop each other.
Yeah,
and then after about half an hour, both coaches, I think, changed the matchup because they realised that no one was getting a kick.
You guys are useless together. Yeah.
That's it. Because you know where they're going to run, because you spend your whole life playing with him and stuff like. So you know what angles he wants to run, you know how he wants to cut back, you know exactly what his strengths are with his disposal, and vice versa. You know, it's the same for me. So yeah, we're always much more effective on the same team than on opposite ones. So
better off defense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So maybe a massive game ahead for Laura Gardner. Let's. I'd put the money down for that. Maybe.
Yeah. Best on ground. She's going to kill it. She's going to back up, I reckon, for this week.
That's it, especially with those numbers. That's a good start. Definitely a good pickup for us. All right, mate, let's start wrapping things up with one last thing. What have you got on your side to talk about?
My mum and dad, they went down to the men's game, the Swans Melbourne one at the SCG, the final round game, and my mum especially, but dad also, they were both really excited that there was a whole long desk of AFLW Swans players on Driver Avenue, which is the road that runs outside the SCG, on the side where some of the gates are, and they were there. They were handing out posters and signing stuff, and kids were getting all sorts of things. They had little trinkets and stuff to give out, little face masks, I think, as well, whatever they had. And my dad got a signed poster for me and also for my brother. So a whole bunch of the girls have signed our posters for us. And then my dad, bless him, he told him, he said, our family's been members of the Swans since like the mid-90s. And they're all like, yeah, none of us were even born in the mid-90s.
Even conceived of, nothing.
Yeah, that's it. So that made me feel old because I remember going to the Swans in the mid-90s.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, the first game I went to was like 93, 94 or something. So yeah, it makes me feel old. I'm pretty old.
Yeah, no, but it was just great, and they were just saying just how positive the environment was, and how people were really getting around them, and how happy they were to be spending that time with supporters, which I think is really great. Yeah,
definitely. They were a bit of a hit at Driver Avenue that day. The other thing is, like, mate, they had the whole men's team was there watching the game at North Sydney Oval, and some footage of them, just riding the wind, like you would imagine from some competitives there. And then I think the Swans Twitter post was something along the lines of, "Now the men knows what it feels like to be on the other side of a close one." And I'm like, I don't know. It's just like, it's pretty mean. I think they know what it feels like. but yeah, you could see them stressed out of their minds, eyes popping out of their heads. And when they got the win, they were up and getting all about it. So yeah, good support by the boys. Definitely going to get it around the girls at that point. So that's really exciting. It's a shame that we can't be in the same city for this week, considering the men's are playing down in Melbourne. But yeah, no doubt they'll show support some way or another.
Yeah, and they don't know each other too, right? I mean, they're all training in the same facility. That new big the Hall of Industries. They're all training in there together, yeah. And so there would be I imagine there would be a real feeling that it's like it's one club, which is something which I think women's footy really brings to the game at every level, not just professional, like all the way down to local clubs and juniors. It expands the community, which I think is really cool.
That's it. And as Rampy said, it was only when the AFLW team came into it, then the Swans felt complete. And I think that's a really good way to say it. And that's after this for a second season, when basically the first one where we're somewhat organized and you see it all come together, and there's a definite air of professionalism in it. I couldn't say it any better than that. It just feels perfect. It just feels right. So that brings us to the end of the episode for round one of the AFLW season 2023. Look, we'll be doing this every single week, getting out the weekly games out. If you had any questions or thoughts of how we could do it or ideas of what we could do differently, by all means, please reach out to us. We're always willing to listen, trying to find ways to do this in a way that makes the most amount of sense for AFLW as AFL men's. They are similar but different, and we're willing to do what we need to do to make sure that they're both entertaining and instructional all at the same time. Well, Stevo, thanks for coming, mate. Look, we'll see you in North Sydney Oval, but until then, up the Bloods and can you Swannies?